check out this gorgeous gem of a car, the Jaguar F-Type R, a monstrous, beautiful, reminiscent of wonderful history, two-seat convertible. The F-Type did get an update for the 2021 model year. They revised the look of the car and did some shuffling around with the powertrains. The main thing is the look, and they did kind of sharpen up the look, make it a little bit more aggressive in the front end, and change the way the headlights look and things like that. I, for one, think it's great. I think it's a very attractive car, and I think it looks even prettier than the original F-Type. But, you know, I can see how it would be controversial. The F-Type doesn't really have trims per se, more like powertrains that you can choose from. And now, in the United States at least, you can choose between one supercharged 5-liter V8 or another supercharged 5-liter V8, which, you know, that's not a bad place to start. One makes 444 horsepower, the other one, this one in the R, makes 567 horsepower. Yes, the right choice. But is it the right choice? That's actually a tougher decision than you might think, because the big engine, the big horsepower engine, is only available with all-wheel drive, and the 444 horsepower version, which is still a lot, is available as a rear-wheel drive car. Something to think about. The starting price for this F-Type R convertible is $107,050, and my test car has a lot of options on it and goes for $120,750. But I mean, just look at this car. It is so pretty. And in fact, why don't I take a moment to give you a closer look around and inside the car. All right, guys, let's take a look at this gorgeous Jaguar F-Type R. Now, this particular car is painted in a weird named color. It is SVO Ultra Metallic, and that is a $4,550 optional paint. I would call it like a beigeish brown, but I would say, especially with the combination of the beige convertible top, that it does work very well, especially with some of these black accents, like the black with the Jaguar logo right here in the quarter panel, the black 20-inch wheels right here, and the black lower side view mirror covers, and the black grille here in front. To me, the combination works really well. The color combination works really well. So that makes it enticing. Looking at the car from the front, that's where it's most apparent that this car has been updated for 2021. And I personally think that it's a great look, and I love some of the details. So I showed you the black grille, but we've got this nice Jaguar logo right there, and this R right beneath that, and then F-Type down below that, even right above this front bumper that stands out more than you'd think at first glance. And it's the fact that its body color is a really nice touch. These long, slender LED headlights are kind of deceptive how big they really are. This just kind of keeps going and going and going. And I think this is like a really cool, squint-eyed, purposeful look, ready to pounce kind of a feeling, which, you know, Jaguars tend to do. We've got these lower scoops and funnels down here, all very cool. Looking at the car in profile, I'll put the specs up on the screen for you right now, and this is a good time to remind you that I have a full set of specs, powertrain, dimensions, fuel economy, all that in the description of this video, so you can check that out there. And you can just look and just see how it is gorgeous from the profile as well. And I'll also take a moment to show you what this car looks like with the convertible top down. There it is going down right now. Very sexy. Now, I do like that we get some fender flares out here in front. It comes way out a good 6 inches, I would say. It pops out here to cover the front wheels, and we are working with a 265 series piece of rubber here, 265 millimeters wide. Pretty good. And then in back, the haunches come out even further, and we've got 305 section width rubber here, so a lot of tire to work with. Also, I didn't mention it in front, I think the red calipers contrast the black wheels really well. In back, you get this like faux diffuser thing going on right here. Looks great. Don't think it does much in terms of actual aerodynamics, but these are very real. Quad tip exhaust, which I really love. So dual, and if you look closely, we actually have an R right there on each one of the tips. That's cool. Plus, these things sound so good. Of course, F-Type, R, and the taillights match the headlights pretty well, and the Jaguar logo up here. And this is actually not just a little flap, this is a wing that you can put up and down. I'll show you that right now. That's a cool little trick. Let's take a look inside. Real quick, yes, this does have a trunk. It's not very big. It opens like this, and you've got, I don't know, a few cubic feet of storage space. Nothing really to talk about there. Getting inside the car reveals another cool detail. So right now the car is locked, so the door handle is seamless with the door itself, and the side view mirrors are folded in. But if I press this button, it unlocks, the side view mirrors unfold, and it exposes this metal Jaguar piece right there, which I really love. And then the door itself is actually solenoid driven, but push the door handle in, that's how you lock it. So I think that's a great little detail. I really like that. Got this beautiful metal R kick plate right here for the F-Type. That's really nice to look at. Really nice looking leathers, and really nicely stitched leathers at that. I just think this is beautiful, classic. Something about it is very warm and inviting, and I really like it. And the stitch work right here and the patterns is really nice. Of course, get power windows, side view mirror adjustment, lock unlock. Your seat adjustment is right here on the door. You also have 3-position seat memory, lumbar support. Part of the reasons why the seats are on the door is because look how low the seat is. You're very much in this car. You have those nice metal pedals to look at deep in the bay. Here, up here, some light adjustment. Here's trunk release, and here's are some of the drive assistant options right there. You do have tilt and telescope steering adjustment. It is powered and right there. The seats themselves are also gorgeous. Love this Jaguar pattern right here, and the stitch work right here, and this metal insert that says Jaguar right here. You have really nice upper bolsters and strong lower bolsters as well. This is a fully digital instrument cluster right here, 12.3 inches. The steering wheel itself has lots of buttons on it, and also some really nice leathers. I like the Jaguar logo right in the center, the R right there. This has the $1,125 climate pack, and that gives us a heated steering wheel and heated front windshield as well. Might be really hard to see, but there's actually tiny little thin wires running vertically up and down the windshield for much faster defrosting. This is your 10-inch widescreen center console touchscreen, and pretty typical looking Prindle start stop button right there. But there's some cool buttons and switches to look at down here. These are your drive modes, okay? You've got 3 drive modes. Normal, push up for snow and ice, push down for dynamic, which is Jaguar's way of saying sport. Electric parking brake, stability control on and off, but here's the convertible top. It is fully electric. There's no switches or anything. Everything's done with solenoids and this switch right here. And then you have loud exhaust, spoiler up and down, and engine start on or off. I'm going to talk about more of those in just a moment. Underneath here are your cup holders, lovely, lovely, and lower center console storage, which has some USB ports, micro SD, and fairly standard cigarette lighter style storage right there. Okay, usually I start the car before I go through all these details so that the screens are lit and all this kind of stuff. But there's actually a trick to the way you start this car. Let me show you that trick right now. Okay, as a default, the engine will start in a quieter mode, but why would you get a supercharged 5-liter to hear it quietly? So if you want to hear it start up more loudly, what you do is you press the start stop button without having your foot on the brake. That turns the car on without turning on the ignition. Now, turn on the loud exhaust. Now, press the brake and hit the start stop button. And you get the louder, more raspy, more roarous start, which I definitely like. And once it starts, you also listen to this beautiful, beautiful revving sound. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. So good. Oh, I love it. All right, I feel obligated to show you that you can start it in a quieter mode. So I will turn this off. You can hear some of the rumble goes away. I'm going to stop the car. All right, now I'm going to start the car again in the quieter mode. So adult, so mature. Okay, now here's a better look at the 12.3-inch instrument cluster, fully digital instrument cluster, nice and lit up. You can see you have a nice digital tachometer right there with a 66-ish 100 RPM red line, and it makes peak power right near that red line, so please climb to that red line as often as possible. Jaguar says that the F-Type R will reach 186 miles an hour before it is electronically cut off. So it'll go 300 kph, 186 miles an hour, not slow. Here's a better look at the 10-inch widescreen center console touchscreen, and easy to use, easy to see, lots of cool stuff here. That's all very good. Also, here's a good point to show that you do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, along with many other things. One thing that's worth noting on this touchscreen, though, is Dynamic Eye. So you have drive modes here, dynamic mode, snow, ice, normal. But in dynamic mode, you can actually adjust several things: the engine, the steering, the gear shift, and the suspension. So you do have adaptive suspension here, and you can have it set up so that when you're in dynamic mode, you can maintain the comfort suspension, or you can maintain the comfort engine and gear shift, steering, etc. So that is worth noting, because even if you're in dynamic mode, you could set this whole thing up to stay comfortable if you wanted, or any individual part: engine, steering, transmission, suspension. Also, if you're curious, you do have lap time, you do also have a G meter, and you can look if you're on the throttle or on the brake. All right, let's get back to the drive. Let's talk a little bit more about this powertrain. As I said, supercharged 5-liter V8 under the hood, 567 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. Nice big numbers. Now, you might have heard or have seen that it's called the PS575. Well, that's because it makes 575 metric horsepower, and there is a 1.4% difference between SAE, which is the US metric for horsepower, and metric horsepower. So that's the difference. So in SAE US horsepower, it's 567. That 567 horsepower comes at 6,500 RPM, and the peak torque you get, 516, comes between 3,500 RPM and 5,000 RPM. So you have this nice broad torque band, and then it just crescendos right near its red line to its peak horsepower of 567. And the entire time, it sounds so good. In fact, I'm gonna turn the loud exhaust on now and give us a taste. Come on! Oh, that does not get old. That never gets old. It's addictive. Of course, nothing in this world is free, and you're going to pay for all this power and glorious sound with fuel economy. You get 16 miles to the gallon in the city, 24 miles to the gallon on the highway, 18 combined. Not great, not really good for anything these days, but you have to consider that this is kind of old school technology. So going supercharged instead of turbocharged, and not any hybrid anything. Yes, you do have auto stop start for the car in city traffic. That helps a little. Considering what this engine is and considering its simplicity, those numbers make sense. Obviously, the fact that it's all-wheel drive doesn't help either. I mean, it's good for putting power down, but it's not good as drivetrain loss, it's more weight, etc., etc. And the 8-speed automatic, on the other hand, is a gem. That's a great fast-shifting transmission that gives you a nice short gear ratio for fast launches, as well as a nice low cruising RPM on the interstate. But let's talk about something more fun. In fact, let me show you how this car accelerates. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. I do have the car in dynamic mode. I do have the stability control off, which is also the traction control, but I also have all-wheel drive, so I don't think I'm gonna have that much of an issue with grip. I've come to a complete stop, bit of brake torque, and off we go. Oh, yeah, oh, yes, wow, oh my God, that noise, oh. that noise alone is so glorious. 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, top speed of 186 miles an hour. Nothing else has to be said. That's just quite impressive. Let's talk about the bones of this thing a little bit. It's actually pretty heavy, 4,163 pounds. For something this size, that's a lot of weight to carry around. But it does have a nice low center of gravity, and a lot of that weight is serving a purpose. Plus, we do have adaptive shock absorbers, and both the front and rear uses double wishbone suspension geometry, which is, generally speaking, the car enthusiast's choice. So, with all that said, let me show you how this thing handles. All right, everybody, time for a handling test in this iconic brand, iconic name, Jaguar F-Type. Lots of horsepower, all-wheel drive, so kind of heavy too, but I've got it in the dynamic mode, which we can call sport mode, and I do have the stability control off, so let's see how it goes. Oh, what a great sound. Yeah, I mean, good amount of grip, good control at the limit, but there is more body roll than I think is necessary. Yeah, you can even feel it under the heaves and stuff. It takes a set nicely, but you get a more body movement than you really should. But man, oh man, the sound of that V8 is glorious. And we do have a lot of grip, and we do have sharp front end, so we have good turn-in response. Okay, everybody, I made a mistake. I had the car in dynamic mode and everything like I said before, but unbeknownst to me, it actually was in the comfort suspension setting when I was in dynamic mode this last time around. So I'm back. Let's try the handling again with a stiffer damper. That does not get old, that sound. Yeah, much better body control. Definitely stiffer, less body roll for sure. Yeah. We've got a much firmer suspension now, more body control for sure. It does still roll a little bit more than I think is ideal, but this is a lot closer, and it is very quick and very fun. Oh, wow. And that sound, that glorious V8 sound coming out of corner exit is so fantastic with this engine. Wow. Yeah, that definitely makes a difference. Going with the stiffer damper setting in the dynamic mode for the suspension definitely makes a difference. We definitely have more body control, but it does actually open up. Just, it feels like just a little bit more flex in this convertible body, and the stiffer dampers kind of showcase that just a little bit more. I felt like a couple of moments of quivers in the structure, but this is a very quick, very capable car, and those dampers definitely kind of meet the rest of the car and the rest of the sportiness when you have it in the dynamic setting. Still not quite as like natural feeling as the best sports cars out there, but man, is it so much fun. And that V8, that glorious 5-liter supercharged V8 is so good. Every corner exit is a delight. Yeah, oops. It has adaptive shock absorbers, and the first time around I had them in the comfort setting. Yeah, what are you gonna do? But this thing is quite good. A lot of fun to go quickly in, and again, that sound is so good. Even with all the sporty goodness, we also have a pretty darn decent ride, and that's true on this road or on the interstate. In fact, let me show you that right now. All right, everybody, time for a quick jaunt on the interstate. I've got the car back in normal mode, and the stability control is back on. Let's see how it feels. I think this is a good point to remind everybody that this is a convertible, so wind noise and road noise are going to be very relative terms. It's already loud in here. We're not even up to interstate speed yet, but that is to be expected. Okay, up to speed. I do not have adaptive cruise control. I am fine with that entirely. I do have a lot of wind noise. Actually, not that much road noise though. These are nice and quiet Pirelli P0 tires. They are doing a good job there. Wind noise is high, but it's not any higher than what I would expect from a convertible top car, especially a convertible top car going interstate speeds. So, totally fine there. I complained a little bit about the body roll in the handling test. Wish it was a little bit stiffer. Well, there is a benefit, and the benefit is here on the interstate. It is easily soaking up the bumps, so that's no problem at all. I do have that nice widescreen touchscreen to use, so I've got a lot of options there. The 12.3-inch instrument cluster is very easy to read, so that's helpful. So yeah, this is generally a pleasant experience aside from the wind noise. So what do we have in this nearly $121,000 two-seater convertible? Don't think of it as transportation, point A to B, getting to work, or anything like that. This is so much more than that. This is an experience. This is art. This is a machine to arouse your senses, to make you feel alive, to make you feel happy, to make you feel excited about the world. This is so much more than just a car. It's not about the crispness of the handling, or the speed you get from the engine, or the sound you get from the engine, or the fit and finish of the leather, or the look of the front end with striking narrow headlights, or just the silhouette of the body. It's not any of that. It's all of that combined to just make you feel special, make you feel like you're in something that just is a little bit more. You buy it for the delight of it, for the visual beauty of it, for the rock and roll oral pleasure that it brings, just for the experience. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you are still watching, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and like this video. Those things really do help me out a lot. Okay, goodbye. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, so good.